Hey guys, Casual Crono here. This video is going to be a little different than my usual ones. I'm not going to discuss any strategies. I'm not going to kill any bosses, super bosses, weapon temperings, etc. I'm just going to talk about the game. And feel free to add in comments and let's banter back and forth. I'm also on Another Eden's Reddit page. I tend to check that at least once a day, so if you want to have a full conversation with all the Redditors, feel free to post in there. I think for a Reddit page, it's a really chill, relaxed, I think the people that play Another Eden, for the most part, maybe they're a little bit older. I don't want to say that in a bad way. Maybe, because I came from Chrono Trigger. I played Chrono Trigger when I was in college. And so that tells you how long it's been since, how old I am, basically. And I think a lot of other people played Another Eden because of games like Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. So I think in general the Reddit page tends to have more mature adults compared to maybe other Reddit pages, not to insult the others. But I found it's overall a really good, strong community that doesn't really put each other down. So if you don't want to comment here on YouTube, feel free to go there and chat about any of this as well. But for the most part, this video, we've had Another Eden for 8.5 years. Awesome. I'm hoping it continues to year 9 and 10 and beyond. It is currently October 2025. So any suggestions, thoughts, things that I just kind of spout out, maybe they'll get incorporated. That would be great, in my opinion. And the things that I suggest, may or may not be the best things to suggest, but it's just observations I've made that I think would improve the game a whole lot. Because we're not really drawing in that many new people. Mostly the people playing Another Eden are the ones that have been playing for the past 8.5 or so years. So in order to kind of keep that momentum going, I do think there are some things that need to be tweaked about this game. So that's going to be the discussion point of this video. Maybe it'll fall eventually to the ears of the developers. I don't know, but can't hurt to talk about it, right? So without further ado, I'm going to have little segments in this video. Some are going to be shorter, some are going to be longer, kind of about what I would like to see changed in this game, which isn't much. I really love this game, and I think overall it's been really well done. So a lot of this is just tweaks more than anything, no major revamps. All right, let's get to it. One of the first changes I'd like to see done, and I can't really show you right now because I'm out of keys, but when you do a red key run, and technically a green key run, there's a chance to encounter a rare room. Rare rooms have different names, and they have a chance to drop a chant script from a chest. And while the chance isn't super high, I think it's like 5% according to the wiki, that's still way better than your general chant script drops. So when you do your key runs and you run around and you just kind of zone out, you're playing your game and everything, it's very easy to miss a rare room. Yes, the name is different, but if you're not paying attention when you zone to the next area, the name appears on the screen briefly and disappears. And unless you click the little map at the top, you don't see the name of the rare room again. And especially if a brand new dungeon comes out, none of us know what the rare room is. What would happen if you ran a brand new dungeon for the very first time and hit a rare room? Unless you're, checking every single chest in the room, which you probably would be since it's brand new, but still, there's no way to know that you're actually in a rare room. I think just some sort of visual cue, maybe the edges of the screen are sparkling a little bit, or maybe the mini-map at the top has a glow to it, or something constantly there that indicates that you are in a rare room. That would make it a little more obvious to search it out, particularly for those of us that have been running like the Xeno domain over and over and over again. One thing that the developers did do that I thought was very nice, if you use the Cat Express tickets to skip one of the runs, you still have the chance of encountering a rare room, and you still have a chance of getting that Chant script or the other rewards from that rare room. So at least if you're constantly using Cat Express tickets and skipping the content, there's no real danger of missing the rare room. But for those of us that run it manually, it would be nice to have some type of visual constant cue indicating that you have reached a rare map of some kind. So that's, quick and easy, hopefully something that the developers could throw in that wouldn't be too much work. Here's another one. You have a white gate. Yay, you get so excited. Going to the Phantom Crystal Dimension. And let's see, we got 22 more. Getting excited. Made it to the first world. That doesn't even happen all the time. Get your stamp. Collect some gold and some medium scrolls, murmur scripts, because we all totally need a bunch more of them. Made it to the next world. Getting all hopeful. Get some prayer scripts, because, we still need a bunch of them. Get another stamp. Life is good. And you're starting to get real hopeful. Ooh, maybe this will be the one. World number 4. Another stamp. And that's actually all the stamps we can get. Because the next world doesn't have a cat for stamps. But you don't care, because, oh my gosh, I'm going to get 3 Chant scripts. And I'm going to get something of my choice. No! No, 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 no. And you are so disappointed. Well, there's the next stamp. Got 4 stamps, so yay, I guess. And I got a bunch of items I don't need. Why are you congratulating me? Why? This was nothing but disappointment. This was not worthy of a congratulations. It's like, yay, you failed. Why is this screen here? It mocks me. So that's my thought on that. Just get rid of the congratulations screen. Another thing I'd like to see tweaked a little bit is Nopaew's Emporium and Nopaew Gems. So Nopaew's Emporium is pretty awesome. I like the fact that it does reduce a little bit of the randomness in the game. You have all of these treatises, tomes. You can even buy Chant scripts. The problem with all this, well, there's several things, but the problem with this is the gem acquisition. You can get, as a free-to-play player, if you run your dungeons and everything, you can get 120 gems a week. If you consider a month to be 4 weeks, you're looking at 480 gems every month, which would buy you a single Chant script. You pretty much need 5 Chant scripts to do anything with a character. So right away, you're looking at close to 4 to 5 months if you're buying Chant scripts just to improve one single character. And let's face it, over 4 or 5 months, there's going to be a whole bunch of other characters released that you're going to want to improve as well. The same goes for all of the star charts. Another Eden has done something that I think is actually pretty nice. They've taken old characters that weren't terribly relevant anymore, and they've given them stellar awakenings. And by doing so, for example, Rosetta's was the most recent one, they're making some old characters relevant again. Now, sometimes they have a hit or a miss. Like Mariel, for example, got a Stellar Awakening that locks her into singing for 99 turns. And that's pretty much... That was a bad choice. I'm just going to say it. I think very highly of the developers. I have no idea what they were thinking with Mariel's Stellar Awakening. So there's some Stellar Awakenings that you just want to avoid altogether. But they've had many characters. Ewan, for example, top damage dealer for fire as of right now. Annabelle just came out recently. She's a pretty strong tank if all you need is tanking. So they are finding ways to make old characters relevant, which is great for us that have a bunch of old characters. And I do, because I've been playing since the beginning. The star charts also cost 400 gems, which means I can buy about one every month. 2 months, and I can get 2 star charts. I want to say something does need to change about the Emporium. There's a few thoughts that I have. First of all, only getting 120 gems a week is extremely limiting. If I remember right, and I do not pay to play the game, but they do have some subscriptions. Now, the developers, I'm sure, do realize that 120 gems a week is very restrictive. They have in their subscriptions, Guide of the Heavens and Guide of the Land, an increased amount of gems. So you can get gems faster, and instead of 120, it looks like if you have Guide of the Heavens, the cap goes up to 180, which still means you need over 2 weeks to get 400 gems. So if you're trying to save up to buy 2 star charts, for example, you're still looking at a month plus to get an All Cosmos star chart, for example, or a regular star chart, for example. That still doesn't seem like a lot, and these are paying people now. So if I'm paying for a game, I kind of expect to get things faster than that. So, for starters, Nopaw's Emporium. Free-to-play players have a limit of 120 gems a week. I think it really needs to be up to about 200. I think it needs to be an even number, so that way I can say, in 4 weeks exactly, I can buy a star chart. Or in 2 weeks exactly, I can buy a codex. This 120, 280, those numbers, it sounds stupid, I realize. But, 120 gems in 1 week will get me nothing. And I'm to the point where I don't want to play a game for a solid week and not feel like I'm getting any, value for my time. So in 1 week, I think you should be able to buy a codex, a treatise, any of those. And then in 2 weeks, I think you should be able to buy things like the 400 gems, the star charts, or the chant scripts. I want to know that in 2 weeks' time, I can make progress. Because right now, it's taking me 4 weeks to get a star chart or a chant script. Not that I buy chant scripts here, but... And to me, I don't want to play an entire month just to get 1/3 of the way closer to actually being able to use my character. That's almost crazy to me. So I think for free players, weekly gems should be at 200. I think for paying players, the weekly gems should actually be 400. If I'm willing to shell out money, in 1 week's time, I should be able to buy a star chart, or 2 codexes, or 2 treatises. Give the people that want to pay money a purpose to spend that money. Is there really any harm in that? I don't think so. My opinion. So, and then keep it in intervals of like 200s, 400s, etc. If all of your items cost in those intervals, then maybe you should, or developers should make the weeks kind of sync up. So right now, a free player, if the limit was 200, a free player could buy that chant in 2 weeks. All right, if I play every day, for 2 weeks and get my Nopaew gems, then I can make progress. Because right now, the time it takes for progress is really, really, really long. So that is a suggestion of mine. Either that or reduce the prices. Maybe the star chart should be 200 now, and all the treatises and other memoirs should be 100. And chant scripts at this point in the game almost definitely need to be reduced to at least 200, if not 100. So either improve Nopaew rates for everybody, paid and free people, or reduce prices in Nopaew's Emporium. While we're on the topic of the Emporium, would it be too much to ask if we could improve the inventory a little bit? Specifically with memoirs. The Emporium has 2 of pretty much every memoir available, codices and treatises. That means through sheer randomness, you are forced to hope that 3 drop before you can side grade your character. In the case of opuses, you have to hope also for 3 drops, because the Emporium does not sell any opuses. So, another suggestion I would have, at this point in the game, a 5-star character is not that exciting anymore. They're exciting once they're Stellar Awakened, but just getting the 5-star character, yeah, they're usable. Some are. You can make the argument that Sirius, for example, even when 5-star, really isn't worth using under any circumstances. Now they've gotten a little better, but he is a good example. So at this point, you're at the mercy of RNG, random number generators. Basically, luck. So if you are lucky, you might get a gazillion codices over time and be able to side grade and get personal Grasta and everything. If you are unlucky, where are the treatises? For example, Raven AS came out about a month ago. I've gotten 1 drop. I could buy 2 more, which I really don't want to because I'm kind of saving all my gems for star charts. But that means I have to hope for anywhere from 2 to 4 more drops before I could get Raven AS. And that's a big ask. There's some characters that I get tons of drops for, and then there's others that I get very few. Cuervo, for example, since he's been released, I still cannot get him, and I don't know how many months ago that was now. And unless luck smiles on me, I'm not getting him. So my suggestion to the developers, at this point in the game, they should sell 3, at least, treatises and codices, and basically reduce the amount of luck the players need in order to get the remaining memoirs. Nopaew Emporium should also start selling at least 1 opus, because when you're playing, a new character's out, been a month or 2, and then that first opus drops. You're like, yay! But now I have to wait for 2 more opuses to drop. Opuses don't drop more than about, whatever it is, like 5% of the time to begin with. And then there's like 19 opuses, so then you have a 1 in 19 chance of getting the opus you really, really want. And when you start thinking about all the randomness that's involved in side grading characters, it's a lot. It would be a lot better, like, just mentally, for the player to, when they get their first opus drop, then suddenly they just need 1 more opus. And then they could hop over to the Emporium if they really wanted to and buy that 3rd opus and get the character. So when that first drop appears, you already realize, wow, I'm halfway there. That's awesome. Right now, when that first opus drops, you're like, well, I need 2 more opuses, and there's no guarantee anywhere that I could get 2 unless I complete a white key dungeon, which does not happen that often either. It's like 1% chance. So you're just really up to the mercy of RNG, luck. to get the memoirs you need. The Emporium, just by simply offering a third codex, a third treatise, and a single opus, suddenly that whole mentality changes. With opuses, I just need one more, and then I can get the character. That's awesome. That motivates me to keep playing. And with the codices, and memoir, or the treatises, it would be the same thing. If 3 prophet treatises were being sold here, and I got 1 random drop, already I just know I just need 1 more drop, and then I can get Raven AS. That motivates me to keep playing. You know, when it's so far out of reach that you just don't feel like playing anymore, you know, that's a problem. And I think the fact that just simply getting Raven AS, that alone isn't game-changing either. We still need to do his character quests. We still need to get 3 all Cosmos star charts and, you know, Stellar Awaken him and all of that. So it's not like just simply getting him to 5 stars is the end game anymore. And when the Emporium was created, it was. So I think the Emporium needs to be updated to offer 1 opus, 3 treatises, and 3 codices, in addition to considering a price drop or a gem increase. Another issue I really wish they would address is the user interface. It's a point that comes up in discussion a lot on Reddit, at least, probably Discord. I don't have a Discord, you know, account. I don't even know if there is a Discord for Another Eden. There probably is. But the user interface is annoying. It's dated. There's a few things I'd love to see changed. Memoirs, for example. And I'll mention later, chant script drops. You know, I have 5,000 murmurs, 3,000 prayers, 37 chants. That's just not right. But we'll talk about that later. Okay, so in the items section, if I go to items and go down to memoirs, I have all of these tomes and treatises and codexes and everything. They're not in any order. The point is, I have no idea what most of these are for. Ginny Opus. Is it really that hard to say this is for Mayunfa Altar or Mayunfa Altar's you know, opus or something? Venus, you know, Hermes. Who are these people for? Hogni. You know, if you don't already know that Yakumo AS is the one that uses these treatises, you know, like if I scroll through here, oh look, I have 8 Sky Sprite treatises. I could awaken someone. Who? I have no idea. Or if you want their personal Grasta, for example, I got 22 Crimson, can't talk. I have 22 Crimson Knight tomes. That means I could get a personal Grasta. But for who? I don't know. I do know it's Radius, but that's just because I've been playing the game for so long. So a lot of these, you know, Sacrament Codex, I got 5. Can I awaken someone? Do I need their tome? I don't know who. Is it that hard just to add in, you know, this belongs to the Little Lily or something like that? So very simple, I would think, change in coding, you know, but I think something that would make things a lot easier, at least with the memoir screen. Along the same lines are Grasta. They've made a lot of good changes. They have given us 5 different ways to equip your characters at the push of a button. That's awesome. I love this feature. I'm glad they introduced it. But when it comes to Grasta, this is very, very clunky. If I click bind, and let's say I want to bind, I don't know, Alma's Grasta. Well, she's equipped with one. That's great. So it's right there. And I have the items that I need to awaken it. Great. If it wasn't equipped and first in the row, this is, I don't know what kind of order this is. And when you choose search by staff, it's not like the staff user's Grasta comes up. It's worthless. The filter, at least for this feature. It'll work for, the other types. But for personal Grasta, it's not like Shanghua's Grasta are appearing here, or Palm's, or Fine's, or any other staff user. Nothing appears here. There is no way to sort the personal Grasta, and it is in no particular order whatsoever. It's not even in, like, the release. Like, Claude's Grasta are at the very bottom of my list. Claude was released years ago. Why is his Grasta at the very bottom? So if I go to Grasta and I want to bind someone's Grasta, it takes forever just to find the Grasta. And then, let's say I want to awaken all 3 of Dewey's Grasta. I go ahead and activate one of them. Yay! I'm 1/3 of the way done. What does the game do? It starts over at the top of the screen again. Now I have to go and find where in the world his other 2 Grasta are. Why doesn't it just go back to where I left off? Why? Why do we have to put up with this to begin with? And it's just, I don't know why it jumps back up. So that's kind of annoying. It would be nice if we could sort and actually have all the sword users Grasta there. That would definitely save some time. If I clicked on Crystal, why couldn't just all the Crystal users Grastas appear here? That makes sense to me. Save some time. Exchange. This one drives me nuts. I love it and I hate it. Okay, so let's say, oh look, here's Akane. I can see immediately what I have. I have 2 of the proofs. Well, I know I need 3 to get her true proof. Okay, so I have 7 treatises. I need 5. Okay, I can make the 3rd proof. That's awesome, right? Yay, I have all 3. All right, life is good. Then I go, okay, let's get the true one. I have to awaken the proofs. Same here. If I go here, I have to awaken the proofs. Really? Now I have to go leave that, go back to Grasta, go to bind, and let's take Alma for example. I have to find her 3 proofs. Well, I already have the materials. I only need 120 special frags and 30 special crystals to awaken these 3 times. There's 1. Alright, epoch proof, epoch proof, epoch proof. So, there's epoch 2. So, it'd be nice to have a little more description than just Alma, because Alma has more than one of these. So, there, I just awakened Epoch Maker. Scroll down, looking for another epoch. It was near the beginning. There it is, Epoch Maker. Alright. Upgrade them, right? Go back. Feeling happy. Use the upgrade feature. Or, sorry. The exchange feature. Go back to Alma. I just did that. Oh wait, it wants them fully upgraded. So if you make one mistake and come back to this screen, it basically just tells you to go back and do the same thing. So you have to leave again, Grasta again, upgrade again, or not upgrade, bind again. Okay, at least this time now, because I've done one step, they're appearing at least near the front. But still, I mean, I had the special frags, I had the crystals, I have extras. So do that. There's the second one, now it's awakened. Click on here, awaken. Alright, now they should all be awakened. So, and I think if we look down here, somewhere, yep, 1, 2, 3. They all say awakened. Yay. Leave the screen. Come back. Grasta. exchange. Go here. True epoch maker proof. Yay, let's finally unequip it. Really? It's just going to go right back on her. Leave again. Bring up your party menu. Remove one proof. All right. What is this, like fourth try now? Grasta. Exchange. True epoch maker proof. Exchange. Yes, I want to proceed. I've been trying to do that for who knows how long. All right, now let's do the, was that enhanced? I forget what the E stands for at this point. Okay, I needed a faded star proof. Okay, well, can I exchange for a star proof? Is there an option for that? No, of course not. That would make it too easy. If I want the faded star proof, I have to leave, go to the Cat Shrine Renements, run all the way up here. Not that it's that far. Faded star proof exchange. I have 42 at the moment. I'll drop down to 2, but I will gain 4 faded star proofs. And I can do this in this window. Or if I go to Grasta, exchange, I now have a faded star proof that I can use. And guess what? I'm going to put that right back on Alma because who else is going to equip it? Really? So I have a nice new thing. I'm like, yay! I have special Grasta. That's awesome. But it was clunky to get to that point. Why can't, if you have the items, why can't under the exchange screen you just go and you know, when you click exchange, it pops up, you know, like, do you want to use this many star fragments and special fragments and everything to awaken? And just click yes. I mean, this screen alone should be everything we need for the personal Grasta. But it's not. We have to keep leaving it, going back to the Grasta, going back to bind, going here, finding the Grasta, which good luck for that. And of course, once you awaken something, then it jumps right back to the top, and you have to go and find it again if you're trying to do, you know, all 3 of them. It's just extremely clunky, and I don't see why it couldn't all be done in the exchange screen. If you have the materials, just let us click yes. I just spent how long? 3, 4, 5 minutes just to get her enhanced epoch maker proof. I could have just done that in one single click and moved on with my life. That's kind of what this instant gratification generation wants. We don't want to spend 5 minutes when a single click could fix it all. So that would be another thing. I think this was a good first step, but I don't think it's done by any stretch of the imagination. And I think it could be used so much more efficiently. And I'd love for them to just add a button that says, hey, you have these supplies. Do you wish to, you know, awaken, or do you wish to unequip? Whatever. Yes, that's all I want to do. I just want the nice, fancy, new epoch maker proof. So, another thing I would change, how the Grasta UI works. Next, what I want to look at is characters. Probably one of the main reasons people play the game is to make progress on challenging content or collect characters, or both. You know, all the Pokemon games out there, you know, you got to catch them all that. You want to try and collect a lot of characters, and by collecting characters and strengthening them, you can often find ways to beat challenging content. So let's look at both character acquisition and character upgrading. And I'll use Nina as an example. In the Another Eden Reddit about a month ago, a user posted, "Just got a 4-star character. Let's upgrade." Well, we need to get their tome. So that usually means running another dungeon over and over and hoping the tome drops. Fortunately, for going from 4 stars to 5 stars, you only need 1 tome. So once it drops, you're done. It could take a day, it could take 1 single run, it could take a week if your luck is bad. But for the most part, getting tomes is manageable. I have no complaints about that. So, yay, we have our tome. From that point forward, it starts getting a little more annoying. New characters, in order to unlock some of their skills, you have to do character quests. And some character quests can last almost an hour at this point. It's tedious. Some people love character quests, and if you're one of those people that loves them, likes to learn the backgrounds about the characters, that's great. But a lot of the early character quests, like Memoir and so forth, like you left Barukai, you killed something, you ran back, you were done. It took 5 or 10 minutes. I'm fine with that. And I've noticed some of the more recent character quests are getting a little bit shorter, but there's a lot out there that it's just waiting and running to one location, then more dialogue and completing all the character quests just so you have the ability to use some of the skills. At least tone the character quests down a little bit. My personal opinion, some people are going to hate me for it, but I don't find character quests to be very enjoyable content at this point. It's nice getting to know their backgrounds, but it'd be nice to do it in a more concise manner. So character quests, kind of a minor tweak, just shorten them. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking them to be eliminated. Just keep them short. However, the bigger issue with new characters is the amount of stuff, I guess, you have to collect and do in order to make them somewhat usable. So, Nina. You need 5 chant scripts, which you could buy in Nopaew's Emporium, way at the bottom. Or, you could get lucky and have some of them drop in red key dungeons or rewards for red key and green key dungeons, the 2 key ones. There's a lot of sources out there, side content, etc., rewards that give chant scripts. But chant scripts are still very, very rare. I have 37. If I go to my items and go to Memoirs, I have 5,000 murmur scripts, 3,000 prayer scripts, and 37 chant scripts. Chant scripts are, at this point in the game, more rare than they need to be. 2 years ago, when a 5-star character, that was the pinnacle of that character, it kind of made sense. But at this point, another suggestion I have, they really need to drop some of the requirements for chant scripts. Getting Nina from 4 stars to 5 stars requires 5 chant scripts. She's still not fully usable at 5 stars. I think this should become 3 or possibly even 1 at this point, because a single 5-star character is not useful. Stellar Awakened characters are the name of the game at this point, and they have been for over a year. It's not like they're releasing some Stellar Awakens and some not Stellar Awakens. Every single new character since Sirius and Aldo started it have all been stellar. In fact, you've noticed they're going back and giving Stellar Awakenings to older characters. But in order to get the maximum benefit, the older characters have to be 5 stars themselves. For example, Nagi. At some point, I'm reasonably sure that Nagi will get a Stellar Awakening of her own. She's probably getting due. She's one of the original characters, she has a true manifest, and so forth. My Nagi is still a 4-star character. If I find out that in a few days she's going to get a Stellar Awakening, I have to go and make sure that she's a 5-star character. And that's going to require 5 chant scripts. If you're out of chant scripts, the chance of you getting 5 chant scripts in 2 or 3 days' notice is extremely low, because they tend to have their announcements on Tuesdays and then release content that same week on like Thursday or Friday. So you don't get much notice that, hey, Nagi's getting a Stellar Awakening. Great. Oh, I'm out of chant scripts. I could either run to the Nopaew Emporium and buy 5 for 2,000 gems, which I don't have 2,000 gems, and there's no way I'm going to get 2,000 gems in 2 days. Or I have to run out and try and grind lots of content or look at some of the guaranteed rewards or something just to get 5 chant scripts. No, at this point, 1. Just make it 1 chant script to raise someone to 5 stars. That way those surprise announcements make people excited and not necessarily depressed if they don't have enough chant scripts to make use of it. So I think going from 4 stars to 5 stars, the chant script requirement should be reduced. It should be 1. I could maybe accept 3, but leaving it at 5 right now is bad, in my opinion. Second, Nagi is a Nina, well, yeah, Nagi's not Stellar Awakened yet. No, just an example. In my own little world, she is. Okay, Nina is a Stellar Awakened character. That means in order to awaken someone and get all of these wonderful benefits, including new skills and so forth, let's find someone that's not Stellar Awakened. Melpifia. She'd be... Oh, Kuchinawa. There you go. Okay, so he's 5 stars, right? Click on Stellar. As you all know, in order to awaken someone, you need 3 All-Cosmos star charts. A few characters you can buy star charts in Nopaew's Emporium. I love that feature about Nopaew's. That was a great idea. Personally, another thing I think Nopaew's needs is 1 star chart for everybody. So you don't have to hope that you just get lucky and draw 3 5-star characters. Which, I looked up the math on that. So, I'm a free-to-play player. And let's say that I want to awaken Kuchinawa, who I just had. On any banner that does not feature him, he does have a small chance to appear. As you can tell from the numbers over here, it's about 0.01%, no matter what. I'm kind of looking for him, but it's not in any particular order here, too. It would really be so hard just to, alphabetize it, for example. But I can pretty much guarantee once I find him, there he is, Kuchinawa. 0.012, 0.014% chance of him appearing as a 5-star, because as you know, as a 4-star, he does not contribute to Stellar Awakening. You have to pull a 5-star character. How many times would it take to get that 0.01% chance of winning something? Well, if Google is correct, to have a 50% chance of winning something at least once, you need close to 6,931 pulls. So in 6,900, almost 7,000 pulls, a 50% chance of getting Kuchinawa. Now, of course, you're going to get other, well, it's not guaranteed, but the chance of you getting other gold doors and getting other 5-star characters is very high in 7,000 pulls. But if the one character you want to Stellar Awaken is Kuchinawa, after 7,000 pulls, you only have a 50-50 chance of actually having made any progress on him. And guess what? We need to do that 3 times in order to fully Stellar Awaken him, or of course use all Cosmos star charts. What are the chances of pulling him 3 times in gold doors? Beyond low. Just to put it in perspective, according, again, to wiki, technically Quora.com, in order to have a 90% chance of pulling him just once, you need 23,026 pulls. And that's for a 90% chance. You still have a 10% chance of failure. If you look at the numbers, 0.012% chance still means you have basically a 99.99% chance of failure with each pull if you're only going for the one character, Kuchinawa. 99.99% chance. That is insane for them to require 3 Kuchinawas to be, to make him fully usable. There is no way that free-to-play players could ever expect through the gacha system to pull 3 of one character. Yes, it's happened, but I'm sure they knew that, which is why, actually, I don't know why I'm going there. Let's go back to board and Kuchinawa. I mean, that's probably why they threw in the All Cosmos star charts. Without those, you would probably never be Stellar Awakening any of these characters. Sirius. I pulled Sirius when he was first released. I don't think it was on his banner, else he would have come Stellar Awakened, but it was pretty early on. He's been at 1/3 ever since. And he's one of those characters that he really is only useful if he's Stellar Awakened. So, do I want to spend 2 months worth of saving up just to Stellar Awaken him? Not really. He's an old character now. So that's kind of frustrating. So I think they need to do a few things. First, all Cosmos Star Chart acquisition should be a little bit easier. Now, by making the changes to Nopaew's gems, we can more quickly get the named star charts for the older characters. I think that would help at least with the older characters. I think at this point in the game, they really need to up their drop rates on gold doors. I'm not asking for a guaranteed gold door every 10 pull. That's too much. But a 99.99% chance of failure? What gacha game does that? And then for paid people, again, this is me saying that paid players, I don't feel get their money's worth. Except on the rare occasions when there's a Star Dream encounter, SDE as we call it, where you get to actually choose, a guaranteed 5-star. Paid players do not have any way to buy a character. What game does that? Even in the Star Trails, which they kind of marketed as their pity system, which is not a pity system. So I usually do 5 pulls, 5,000 Star Trails. Enough to get the first level of rewards. 10,000, they get a Star Trail drop, which is like a 10% chance of getting the character. 20,000, another 10% chance, another 10% chance, another 10% chance. In psychology, there's a thing known as the gambler's fallacy. If you flip a coin 10 times, and all 10 times it comes up tails, you start to believe that, well, I know it's supposed to be 50-50. I've constantly gotten tails for the past 10 flips. At some point, it needs to be heads, and the world needs to balance. And so, if you keep failing at the Star Trail drop, you start thinking, well, the next one, I just used up a 10% chance. There's another 10%. Sooner or later, I have to get it, right? No, that's the gambler's fallacy. At no point are you ever, even paid players, at no point are you ever able to guarantee getting the character. And the gambler's fallacy kicks in because the more you fail, the more you start thinking, well, maybe the next one, I'm due for it now. You're not. You could spend 100,000 Crono stones and never get the character. And in fact, there's stories on Reddit every so often of someone that does just that. There is one single pool is like $20 because it takes 1,000 stones to do a pool. 2 pools is $40. And I'm telling you, you can spend hundreds and thousands of Crono stones and never get the character. If someone was like, hey, I want to play another Eden, is it any good? And I'll say yes, because it's an awesome game. And then they're like, well, I saw this one character, Nina. I really want Nina. Is there any way I can get her? My answer is no. There is 0 guaranteed ways to get Nina. And they're like, well, I'm willing to spend money. Can I spend money and get her? My answer is no, because you can't. Unless there's an SDE available at some point that includes Nina, there is no way to spend money on her. And my friends, they're like, okay, well, what if I am willing to spend $10,000? Can I get her? The answer is no. My friend's like, that's weird. Well, what if I spend $50,000 in real money? What if I spent 50,000 US dollars? I'm willing to give $50,000 to get Nina. The game is set up that this person who's willing to spend that money can't get Nina. It's still not a guarantee, which blows my mind. In any other game, at some point, if you drop a couple $100s in a gacha game, you can get the character you want, and you're happy, and you keep playing, and eventually some other character comes along, and because you've kept playing and everything, you're like, oh, I want that character too. These people are willing to spend. This game, there is nothing that can be done short of the SDE that allows you to get a character you want. And so, a lot of people are like, well, pretty much every other game in existence allows me to buy what I want. Why would I play a game that doesn't, that will literally take my money and not guarantee me anything? And I see that argument. I understand it. And I just point out in probability terms, they could spend 7,000 pulls and still only have a 50-50 chance of getting a character they want, if it's not a banner character. These rates are horrible. There's no way to sugarcoat it. So then there should be additional ways to make acquisition easier. So let's find Nina. Nina, right here. All right, I have a tome. I have Chant scripts. I want to use Nina. Great. I have 5-star Nina. Yes. 2 years ago, that would have been it. You would have been like, yes, I have this character, finally. I was lucky and got the 4-star. In the banners, it took me 4,000 stones, but I did it. And then I went and ran her dungeon over and over again. That was, that took like 3 or 4 days. But the tome finally dropped. All right, I can use Nina now. And she's going to make an immediate impact on my team. I'm so happy. Well, you still got to grind the remaining levels. So if you don't have scrolls, of course, takes a while. Yay. She's 80 now. Now I got to do one more character quest, which if they were only 5 to 10 minutes, okay? But some character quests are like 30, 40 minutes long. That's kind of, okay, well, I only had like an hour to play, so I guess I'll play with her tomorrow. But then, Stellar time. Well, oh yeah, she's a new character. Let's Stellar Awaken her. There is no progress. Going from a 4-star to a 5-star, even if it's in the space-time rift, should, in my opinion, give you a 1 out of 3 awakening. If you get a 5-star character in any way, any method whatsoever, I think you should have at least a 1 out of 3 showing here. Because if not, you have, as a free-to-play, you have to wait at least 3 months before you can Stellar Awaken that character. And in 3 months' time, so at least 6, 7, 8 new characters are going to come out between now and when I can Stellar Awaken her. And what's the chance that one of them is going to be so awesome that I want to Stellar Awaken them instead? Then I have to wait on her even longer. So I think going from 4-star to 5-star under any circumstance should be a guaranteed Stellar Awakening. 1 point. not the whole thing. Personal opinion, agree or disagree, but there needs to be a way to speed up Stellar Awakening. In this current TikTok generation, that instant gratification, I don't want to wait 3 months to awaken them. And even if you're a paid player, you have one of those subscriptions going on, you still have to wait. I mean, how many people would go out and, if they go to the store, and drop $10 on all Cosmos Star Chart, or even $20? There's probably a lot of people that would just pay for, some star charts, or like a 5 star charts for $99 deal or something like that. The stores, I think, are missing some opportunities to make money. The developers need to sell standalone all Cosmos star charts, where if I'm a retired person and I got money to blow and I just got Nina to 5 stars the old-fashioned way, and I wanted to Stellar Awaken her, I don't want to wait months. But sure, I got $50. I'm retired. I don't have anything to do with my money. I'll drop $50 and awaken her today. But that's not an option. And the SDE, which only comes around in a while, if I don't have Nina and I really want Nina, and I'm willing to drop $50 or $100 to get her, I can't. That seems wrong to me. Or, Stellar Awakening requires you to buy, or to get 3 of a character, right? Well, if the SDE was available, you could buy up to 3 each month, for example, at $100 each. If I had a lot of money, and I didn't mind spending it, I could blow October's 3 SDE purchases all on Nina's, and immediately Stellar Awaken her. So for $300 that goes to the developers, I could Stellar Awaken her right now. And is anyone else's game going to be impacted by that? No. And content creators, like we have a lot of content creators for Another Eden out there, would they be willing to drop a little bit of money to fully Stellar Awaken someone and then go, oh my gosh, Nina made such a difference on my crystal team? Then other people would go, oh, well, I want Nina too. And if some of those people have money, that's more money going to the developers. Like, I don't understand why the developers don't give us reasons to spend real money. If I could drop $50 per star chart, or $100 per brand new character or something like that, I understand that developers want you to pull, but the amount of money that they could be making, and on the standalone items, I think might outweigh, because people aren't pulling as much anymore. One of the most recent banners actually was, Dionysus, Dunrith Altar AC. There was a poll done on Reddit lately, and it was nearly unanimous. No one was pulling for him. Most people were like, yeah, I need to save my stones for someone I really want, or the character themselves, not really what I'm looking for right now. And so no one was pulling for this character. So hear me out. Obviously, no one's really pulling for this character. This character is not a huge draw. In part, that's because if you spend money, do the paid stones and everything, there's still no guarantee you're going to get this character. And of course, the developers want you to buy stones for the sole purpose of pulling. There's really not much else that you can do with stones. You can repeat a battle and things like that, or continue a battle, I guess, if your team gets wiped out. But for the most part, the whole purpose of buying stones is to pull for characters. What if, when the character is released, you also had the option to just flat out buy the character for like $300, $200, maybe even $100. I don't know, that pricing would probably be, market research would determine that most likely. But let's just pretend it's at $100. So you could either go and buy some stones for like $20 or $40 or something and try your luck. And if your luck is bad, you always have the option to go and drop $100 more and just flat out buy the character. When the banner expires in 21 days, 28 days, whatever it is, then you could still buy the character, but then it would cost you like $300. So you're rewarded for basically playing all the time. That's one of the psychological things about gacha games. There has to be a reason to continuously play. If you put the game down and wait 5 months and pick it back up, you will have missed a lot of opportunities. Right now, the only thing you miss after not playing for 5 months is a bunch of free stones at various times, and that's about it. All the content is still there. But what if you were missing the opportunity to get characters for cheap? So for 28 days while Dunearth Altar AC, have to pause and think about that for a second. So for 28 days, you can actually just up and buy him straight out from the shop, no subscriptions, $100. But if you're not playing regularly and you come back, then you have to spend $200 or $300 to buy him once the banner is gone. So it rewards people for playing off and on. You could skip a day or two, but as long as you log in monthly, you can kind of catch up on the current banners. If you're a person willing to spend money, as long as you're logging in, once a week, once every 2 weeks, go, oh, this banner's up. I better go and buy him really quick before the price goes up. It's kind of like a sale. So the developers get money, and $100 is like the equivalent of 4 or 5 paid pulls. So it's not, you can try your luck and have a cheaper pull and get them. So it's kind of like gambling still, gotcha. But there's still a guarantee. You spend this amount of money in this time frame and you get him for cheap. If you aren't playing regularly and the banner expires, you can still get him, but it'll cost more. So in summary, there's a few things I'd like to see change in this game. I don't know if any of these, I don't know how easy it is to do these, but I do think, personally, that these changes would make the game more fun, more entertaining, less frustrating. Less frustrated people are more likely to play the game. People that are having fun are more likely to play the game. And people that can actively work towards a goal will be more likely to play the game. And I think all the suggestions that I made lend itself to those general points. So to recap, I want rare maps to be more visible during a run. I want white keys, white dungeons to be a little more rewarding. Possibly if you don't make it to the sensationalist at the very end, maybe a random memoir could be one of the rewards, for example, of a failed run. That way, even if you don't reach a sensationalist, you might still get that one opus or that one codex or that one treatise that you'd been hoping to get for a while. It's just another chance. Gem acquisition. We really need the Emporium to be looked at. I don't think the gems, I don't think the prices of the gems right now are accurate for today's game. They were from 2 and 3 years ago.
These tentacles don't clean themselves,
No, they do not. But I think the memoirs, the price needs to be decreased. I think opuses need to be sold in the Emporium. I think that gems themselves need to be increased and kind of match, where if you just sit down and go, okay, I'm going to farm some gems for a week, that will guarantee that I can buy this treatise. That works. Right now, we cannot say that. We farm gems for a week and we have nothing to show for it. So just psychologically, a 1 week time frame would allow us to feel like we're making progress. So we need to sell more memoirs, 3 instead of 2, I think. And then for opuses, we need to start selling opuses. I think we need to just add the names to the memoirs. That way when we're scrolling through and just looking around at them, it's just a little more organization. Kind of along the same lines. We should be able to sort through all the proofs and everything. So if we're trying to upgrade the Little Lily's personal Grasta, we don't have to spend minutes literally looking for it, upgrading it, and then having to scroll back and find the next one, and so forth and so on. I do think also that if we go to the exchange screen, we should be able to do one-click whatever. If I have all the supplies and all of the treatises, that's a horrible choice for if I have all 3 Calcale proofs, and I have all of the awakening items needed, and I have all of the faded proofs and the faded fragments and everything, I think that one single click, like if I click on True Calcale Proof and I click Exchange, instead of this showing up, I think it should say something like, do you wish to spend blah, 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 blah to awaken 3 Calcale Proofs? And I would click OK. And then it would also say, do you wish to spend, do you wish to unequip your character? Actually, it probably shouldn't even say that. Obviously, I want to unequip the character. I want to get the true proof. So I think that's just a stupid thing to restrict you from doing. It's just the UI, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but the user interface for many gamers, it's kind of a make or break thing. If the game is too clunky to play, they won't play it. There's plenty of other games out there that run smooth. So why make us jump through hoops? It should just be simply, this is what I want. I click exchange. It tells me what the cost is, and I click yes or no. So I think that should be something that's updated big time. I do think chant scripts are a relic of bygone days. I don't think chant scripts should be as rare as they are. I think it should be easier to get them, either cheaper in the Nopaw's Emporium, or the drop rate is increased, or both. I also think it should not cost 5 chants to upgrade characters. I think it's perfectly fine at this point in the game to only spend 1 or at worst 3 chants to upgrade a character. Because a fully 5-starred character still is not a complete character. And having to spend more than a month, actually more than 2 months for free to play, running red key, green keys, and getting Nopaew's gems simply to get a 5-star character that's still not complete, that's a big ask in today's very, short-term TikTok gratification world. So chant scripts, decrease the value of them and make them more accessible. I think the Stellar Awakening system should be made a little bit easier as well. More and more people on Reddit are kind of complaining, like, there's no way to catch up. I like the characters. I want to collect more characters. I've been wanting, personally, to Stellar Awaken Melpifia pretty much ever since she was released. Yes, I could right now, but that represents the past 3 months worth of savings. And I don't know if there's a new character coming out like tomorrow that I might want to awaken. So I don't really want to blow, the past 3 months worth of savings on one character. And sure enough, I haven't really used Melpifia much for any team. And Nina and some of her stellar skills and everything, the ability to redeploy an awakened crystal zone over and over again, to improve the defenses of Alma, who's already pretty powerful, to increase damage, and to allow me to fill up the stellar burst bar faster. And of course her stellar skill, damage barrier, crystal attacks that stacks and goes up, crystal attack that hits 4 times, that would help the AF gauge. There's a bunch of things that I like about Nina. If I had saved up and used my All Cosmos Star Charts on Melpifia, and then Nina, who was, announced recently, came out, I'd be kind of mad. I'd be like, I don't want to wait another 3 months just to make use. But now I'm forced with the choice. yes, I could Stellar Awaken Nina right now, but then what if 2 weeks from now another character is released, and that's like the missing piece of my water team, because I really don't like my current water and earth teams that much. They're not that useful in today's game. And part of the reason is the DPS only hits once. So 1 hit Shannon, 1 hit Felmina. What if in 2 weeks a water character was released with a huge damage modifier and they hit 5 times? I would be all over that. But then I couldn't. Why would I, if I pulled and got like a 4-star version, I'd be depressed, because I'd have to wait 3 months if I Stellar Awaken Nina right now to use the water character. So I think that the Stellar Awakening system is good. I like that they're going back to older characters and Stellar Awakening them. I think at some point they really need to add Stellar star charts for specific characters in the Emporium, not just the older characters, but like Sirius. Sirius came out, I think, in like November 2023. I might actually be wrong on that date. I felt it was like a year and a half, but maybe it is closer to 2 years now. Either way, Sirius, I kind of expected at the 1 year mark, Sirius's star charts would appear here, and they haven't. So the only way I can awaken Sirius is to spin the very precious All Cosmos star charts, or hope that he appears 2 more times in Gold Doors, which is extremely unlikely. So that makes me kind of sad, and I don't want to play. Well, I mean, I love the game. I want to play, but when I think about things like that, I don't. And there's like this hopelessness that I will never be able to assemble some of the teams I want to assemble. And I think I'm not alone in that feeling. I think a lot of people want to get characters and they feel hopeless. They can't. If they threw in some of these characters, for sale, or if they started putting their star charts in the Emporium, then at least there's like, well, okay, if I wait 2 months and save up the gems, I could finally awaken Sirius. There's like an option there that did not exist. I think those types of options are needed. And then finally, let spenders buy what they want. It's not hurting me if someone wants to drop $500 on a character. There's
nothing on me.
Yeah. There's no PvP involved. It's not like I'm up against these people or competing against these people. If people want to buy Shiguri ES, let them. I mean, you're trying to make money, right? Let spenders buy what they want. And along the same lines, when we awaken people, give us, please, one Stellar Awakening. I don't think that's a huge ask. We still have to wait. Free-to-play still has to wait months to collect the star charts if they don't have any. Even subscription people still have to, they get those fragments as well, but they still have to wait some time. I mean, is there imagine the goodwill making that change, where if you go from a 4-star to a 5-star, they get 1 Stellar Awakening. That would be so nice. I think that pretty much covers all the main points of this video. Some of them are cosmetic, some of them are UI, some of them are goodwill, and some of them are just kind of updating outdated mechanics, like star charts. I feel that is an outdated mechanic at this point. So, I'm not trying to tell the devs what to do. These are just kind of my personal feelings. I love the game. I'm playing the game anyway. It's not like I'm going to quit if none of these things get enacted, because they're not enacted right now, and I'm playing just about every day. It's just, I think that I'm worried a little bit about the game's future. I know that revenue goes up and down. I know, at least in the United States, a lot of people are pulling back on frivolous spending, fun spending, a lot of things are getting more expensive here in the States, and so we don't have as much money for entertainment and, things like that. And I don't know how other countries are, but I imagine, world economies are tied together. So, if people are willing to spend, allow them to. Let's keep the game going, and let's make the game more fun and less frustrating. We're still getting new players. That's a good sign. So let's keep it up. Let's spend some time, revamping some UI issues, making it a little bit easier to get characters you want or to awaken characters you want, and let the people that want to spend money spend money. So, agree or disagree? Comments, thoughts. If you have your own things that you've been wishing for, feel free to add them to the comments below. And, I don't know if we'll be heard or not, but at least, I got off my chest. I'm rambling at this point, let's be honest. I'm not sure how well organized this video is, but these are just some of the things that have been kind of brewing in my mind since I've been playing this year. So, anyway, add your comments below. And let's get a discussion going. Talk here, talk on Reddit, wherever you want. So, Casual Chrono, signing out.